This is the Miami Zoo. And this is us visiting the zoo. What's up, Gator family? My name's David Peterson, and today we're exploring Florida. So we wanted to do something fun with the kids. Disney World would have been awesome, but it is expensive and a little bit farther away. We opted for something closer. We had a hard time choosing between the Seaquarium and the zoo, but we wanted to go somewhere in Miami. Both looked like a lot of fun. On the one hand, we have the Miami Zoo. It's one of the best in the country with over 3,000 animals and over 500 species.
That is one big pile.
The Seaquarium, on the other hand, and it had a lot of live sea mammal shows like seals and dolphins. I thought it might have been fun to see the orca show, but they recently discontinued them. Unfortunately, I think those orca show days are over. At any rate, we decided to go with the zoo. We paid about $23 per ticket. This is approximately half of what the Seaquarium would have cost. One thing we noticed right away is just how big the enclosures were. When you have this many animals and huge enclosures, the zoo is huge. Every zoo we've been to has had strollers and wagons for rent, but this is the first zoo that we went to that they actually had these bicycle rickshaws you could rent. The campus is enormous. The zoo also has a monorail, and for $5 a person for the full day pass, this would have been well worth it.
Yeah, the zoo announcing today is ending its monorail rides after nearly 4 decades.
What do you think so far of the zoo?
Well, we're having a lot of fun.
What's been the most disappointing part of the zoo?
All the stuff that's closed.
Of course, we all had our favorite exhibits. I personally love the koalas, and my wife thought the two-humped camel was a charmer. My daughter loved the chimpanzee, who got up close and put on a little show for us, and there was nothing cooler than the Komodo dragon for my son. The kids love the merry-go-round. In fact, I learned that in the US, merry-go-rounds go counterclockwise, and in Europe, they go clockwise. That's my best impression of an elephant. What kind of animal sounds can you make? We were pleasantly surprised by the petting zoo. It was open when we went, and even though the website at the time had listed it as closed, they had goats and ponies that you could pet. They also had a big pig, but I guess she was getting stressed out, so they decided to give her a break. In fact, all the animals, they had a little area that was sequestered, so if an animal needed a break, it could take a break. There were a few exhibits that were closed, including the monorail, the rhino exhibit, and the Wings of Asia aviary. However, the kids were still able to dig for dinosaur fossils outside the aviary, and they are both huge dino enthusiasts. We were there for about 5 hours and were able to visit Africa, Asia, and Australia sections, but there was still a lot more. We had a great time and we loved what we saw. Next time we make it to Miami, we will definitely check out the Seaquarium. In part 2, we'll be covering the rest of our vacation, including Cuban restaurants and the southernmost tip of the United States. So hit that subscribe if you haven't already. All right, Gator family, that's all we got for today, but we will catch you next time. Ciao.